Each week during the 2015 season, we're going to take a look back at a game from 1990. Joining me on that journey will be Darian Hagan, the quarterback from the 1990 Buffaloes. Hope you join us throughout the season as Darian and I take a look back at the memories from 1990. All right, welcome back to our look back at 1990. And Darian and I were unable to get together last week, so we're going to do two games this week. So they're two big ones, Oklahoma and Nebraska. Let's start with Oklahoma. I know these are the two teams that you guys really pinpointed, when McCartney came in here. Oklahoma, they were ranked. I don't remember where they were. They were a top 25 team, though. How big was this game for you guys as you come into it?
Well, it was a really big game. We were starting to come together and do some really good things. They were coming off, I think, a big win against Texas, and it was a game that right off the beginning they just went up on top of us, rather quickly on a sideline deep ball, and then we were able to gather ourselves after we had we stopped them on fourth down, and then we got going.
Yeah. This was a game that you guys, I know you were motivated for it because Oklahoma was one of those teams that you really wanted to beat. You guys kind of took it to them later on and really sealed it with a huge pass you had to Rico Smith. Talk about that play. I talked to Rico about it over the summer, and boy, that was a huge play. And he did a nice job because the defender tipped it. He did a nice job of sticking with the ball. You made a nice throw though. So talk about that play and how big it was, just to kind of seal the game.
Well, we stopped them on fourth down, and then Coach Barnett went for the juggler. And we threw the ball deep on a deep post, and I tried to actually be too perfect with the ball instead of just firing it out there because Rico was super fast. And the defender got his hand on it a little bit and tipped the ball, and Rico was able to stay in front of the ball and pull it in and go 86 yards for a touchdown.
Yeah, well, that was a big one. That was week 9. So that made you, let's see, 7-1-1 at the time, 6th win in a row. So you guys were kind of rolling at this point. And then you go into week 10, and it's Nebraska week. And this was the week that you guys had always looked forward to, right?
Right. Yep. Anytime we played Nebraska, we looked forward to playing those guys, just because of who they were and what they stood for. And Tom Osborne, him recruited me, and in the previous year, didn't shake my hand after we won. So I was kind of a little ticked off, and every time I played him, I just wanted to, just to make sure we did, came out with a victory.
Yeah. Well, you guys didn't look like you were going to come out with a victory for a while in this one. Everybody knows, it was rainy, and Bieniemy had a tough day, with the 4 fumbles. What was the mindset like as you guys go through that? And you're playing well. The defense is playing well. You're moving the football, but, you keep shooting yourselves in the foot.
Right. We knew from the very beginning – we had a lot of guys from Southern California on our team, and we looked out, and it was raining, and everyone was like, oh, no, because we knew we could run the ball on them. But to throw the ball and, in those conditions, I didn't like it. Mm-hmm. But, Eric kept fumbling, and I go to him, I'm like, dude, you got to take your gloves off. And he lays into me, I lay into him. We going off on each other. But we had the mental makeup to, no matter what we were going through, that if we just minimized the mistakes, we knew we would come out with victory, and that's what we did. We minimized mistakes going to the fourth quarter. Our defense played, really, really well in the fourth quarter, and Eric held onto the ball. To have 4 fumbles and 4 touchdowns, that says a lot about him and his character.
Right. Well, and he eventually took the gloves off, didn't he?
He did. He eventually took them off, and he listened to me, and the rest is history. That's a school record, 4 touchdowns in 1 quarter, and we won the game.
Well, that was big for you guys. That was a huge day, and we talked about it over the summer, but that was a massive day for this team, not only because you beat Nebraska, but everything else going on in college football. Virginia was number 1. I think they lost to Georgia Tech that day. All these teams kept losing, right. Not only that week, but the week after, and that was the week that really propelled you guys into the national title picture. So looking back at it, not only the win, but how big was that Saturday?
It was big. I tell people all the time that season was a magical season. The year before was magical as well, but this one was magical. But because we had to fight and we had to claw our way through every game. Yeah. I think we had one game that year where we just blew the guys out, but we had to fight to the finish. And when guys were going down, we were starting to transcend. Other teams losing. That made our quest a little bit easier and it transcended us back to the top.